Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I hope you had a great weekend. We got a bit of rain, but it's still quite warm at midday. Sub-Saharan Africa, we are all Africans. We must all love one another, says Julius Malema. Very disappointed in Cyril Ramaphosa, who did a Trump in this matter. And my question, which I've posed to Julius Malema personally, is because he makes a very strong distinction. I'm a fourth generation African in many ways, and I want to know that he's treating me as such, because sometimes he makes distinctions and he creates categories. But if he is not making that distinction, then I must say he's saying the right thing. Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, Russia has been steadily expanding its military influence across Africa, alarming Western officials with increasing arms sales, security agreements and training programs for unstable countries or autocratic leaders. In the CAR, a Russian has been installed as the president's national security advisor. The government is selling mining rights for gold and diamonds at a fraction of their worth to hire trainers and buy arms from Moscow. Russia is seeking to ensconce itself on NATO's southern flank by helping a former general in Libya fight for control over his government and vast oil market. Bashir brought in Russian mercenaries in January to help shore up his rule. Last spring, 5 sub-Saharan African countries, Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso, and Mauritania, appealed to Moscow to help their overtaxed militaries. He's made a gigantic geopolitical leap, best seen since UNGA 2015. He intervened in Syria. He's now in the southern hemisphere, in Venezuela, and in Africa he's making some substantial moves as well. They're trying to seize the spoils, General Tony Thomas, on Friday retired as the head of the Pentagon Special Operations Command, said last year at a security conference at the University of Texas at Austin. They are very active. Fantastic story by the Mail and Guardian about the villages in Malawi that prepared for the floods and survived. In my village, we always get flooded, but it's different from the past. It would happen once every 10 years, and the waters weren't so high. Now it's more frequent. And essentially, they had a plan, they had whistles, they knew where higher ground was. One family hid in a tree, and eventually a fisherman rowed up in a dugout canoe searching for survivors. Rescue came at a price, 20 rand per person, but the family was in no position to bargain. I don't think the village will be there in 50 years. I don't think anyone should live there now. But that's the only land that we have, so what choice have we got? It's very painful for me and my people, but we have no choice. The first step was to train residents to recognize the warning signs. When we see more ants, that is a sign that more rains are coming. When we have continuous days of rain, then we can expect a flood. So, really positive story. Great to hear that. I take you back to something I wrote in November 2015 when I said, I cannot help feeling we're like frogs in boiling water. We've created massive interference in the cosmic tuning phenomenon. Mozambique is one example. Go and have a look at the Midwest, similar thing happening there. The lake, Malawi, is stunningly beautiful. This is myself with my daughter Hannah having a swim in it. I like this photograph from Nchenga of a fisherman on that lake. When the word meandos entered into the South African lexicon in 2017 after President Zuma's clumsy attempt to use the word innuendo in a parliamentary Q&A session, it sparked an intense bout of confusion. Now, almost 2 years later, meandos has rooted itself in South Africa's lexicon, has colloquially come to describe the art of mixed messaging and double speak, decode the ambiguous messaging and positions of Ramaphosa and the ANC around key issues, speaking meandos. Indeed, term meandonomics best describes ideologically unclear, haphazard, and clumsy communication strategy, which has characterized the Ramaphosa era thus far. In signaling right and keeping left, the president and his ANC continue to score own goals. South African oil shares up 7.06% this year. Dollar versus rand, last time I looked, 14.375. Egypt tops the list of FDI destinations in Africa, an extraordinary recovery, says the AFDB. In November last year, I said President al-Sisi made bold moves when it comes to the economy, devalued its currency early, took a brutal punch in the solar plexus, but is now reaping the dividend from its bolder economic policy. The Egyptian pound, one of the best performing currencies over the last 12 months in the world, 17.322. Nigerian all-share, down 1.24% this year. Ghana Stock Exchange, down 3.31% this year. A symphony of smells, sounds and colours, the spice market in the walled city of Harar, Ethiopia.